Welcome my dear viewers. So in this video I am going to share an important approaches of teaching regarding the reflective level, which is prescribed by Bigge and this model is a very important to explain something creativity in the teaching learning. So in this video I want to share the 8 different variety of informations under the title of reflective level of teaching, such as the basic introduction part of reflective level of teaching and the important key features of reflective level of teaching, and to discuss the important steps related to reflective level of teaching, and what are all the strategies to implement the reflective teaching inside the classroom, and the advantages of reflective teaching, and as well as the disadvantages of reflective level of teaching, and finally with the comparison of reflective teaching with other methods of teaching. So let us discuss one by one in detailed manner. So usually reflective level of teaching is formulated by the Bigge and Hunt. It is nothing but the highest level of cognitive engagement in teaching and learning situations. So usually getting knowledge is very important in classroom teaching and as well as learning. So this model particularly insists the highest level of cognitive engagement, particularly in teaching learning. So this model particularly focus on developing the students' critical thinking, problem solving skills and independent inquiry. So this shows how a teaching must be incorporated with the students' overall development, because it mainly focus on the critical thinking and problem solving ability skills. So the critical thinking is the topmost priority for the present day of learning situations. We need to improve the critical level of teaching among the classroom situation, and we need to improve the critical thinking among our learners. So this is a very important part in this reflective level of teaching, and this teaching encourages the learners to analyze, evaluate and synthesize knowledge to make a decision to solve real world problems. So in the present new education policy itself insists the same point, such as the learners can able to face the real world situations and try to find the solution for the real world problems. So in this way, this methods of teaching is takes a very important part. So to continue to that, I want to give the important key features of the reflective level of teaching. Basically, I want to share 5 important points. First one is framing the objective. That is very important. While we are implementing the reflective level of teaching, our primary objective is to promote the higher order thinking skills, such as analyzing ability, evaluation ability and synthesis ability among our students or learners. So to enable this kind of thinking independently and make informed judgments. So the learner can able to think independently and they can able to judge the solution for a particular problem. And in this case, the role of the teacher is very, very important, and the teacher can act as a facilitator. The teacher can guiding the students to explore and reflective the students' ability. So the role of the teacher is very, very important in the reflective level of teaching. The teacher can encourage the learners in open discussions to create some debates with the different titles and provide some inquiry based learning situations to the students to improve their learning situations. And the role of the learner in this particular model of teaching is also very, very important, and their role is also a very important part in reflective learning, such as the, the learners can participating in various situations like answering the questions, then hypothesizing the various problems, and to investigating the new solution for particular teaching learning problems. So it is nothing but the self-directed learning and critical reflection among the children. So the learner's part is very, very important in a reflective level of teaching. Then the next part is teaching techniques. So in this reflective level of teaching is having a quite interesting thing. Case studies can support more in providing reflective level of teaching. If we know the A to Z details of a particular concept, then we can able to produce a very good quality teaching to the learners. So the case study can be used to know the reflective level of teaching, and as well as problem solving learning, and role plays also take part as an important in teaching techniques. So finally, the assessment. The reflective level of teaching mainly focus on assessing, analyzing, and critical thinking ability among the learners. It is nothing but I already discussed with open-ended questions and the project-based assignments. Then automatically the team work and team effect can take an important role. So in this way, we have to get some ideas with these key features to implement reflective level of teaching with the different steps. Let us. So in the next phase is steps in the reflective teaching model. I already told that there are 5 steps in reflective teaching model, and mainly it consists of the structured sequence to foster the critical inquiry and problem solving in the methods of teaching. The important factor of this teaching model is to improve the critical thinking among the learners. So that is the need for the R. So we have to give more importance. In first step, it will give some introduction, such as the encounter with the problems. So as a teachers, we have to give some real life problems to the students and create some dilemma situations to improve their curiosity in the learning situations. So that is very important. For example, if we will ask a question like what strategies can be implemented to reduce the wastewater in urban areas, because the water scarcity is very, very important nowadays, and how we have to maintain the water resources, particularly in the urban areas. So then automatically their level of critical thinking may increase among the learners. They try to find some solutions. To continue to that second step, we have to give the inquiry and investigations. That is nothing but the exploration of the learning situations, such as we have to provide learners can get the information and finding some reliable questions to explore their potential to find the solution for the particular problem. So this is in step number 2. For example, to produce a question like how the students can encourage to collect a data of water conservation techniques and related data collections. So the water conservation is the very big portion, and how they can handle it and how they can collect the data for that. So in that way, this portion is very important. And in step number 3, analysis and reflection. This is nothing but the reasoning of the teaching and how they can interpret with their data. So as a teacher, we have to facilitate the discussions where the students analyze their data and evaluate the evidence and identify patterns. So that is very important. For example, how the students to reflect on the effectiveness of water saving strategies. So how we as a teachers create a situation among the students to find the solution for water saving treatments or water saving methodologies. So these kinds of situations create their inquiry level and critical thinking to make them as a higher order thinking. Then automatically the learning will be strengthened. To continue to that, very important thing is the synthesis and application, the 4th step. This is nothing but the resolution step. So the students are forced to solution or strategies based on their analysis. So apart from the general methods of teaching, if we will provide some real life problem situations to our students, if we will create some ideas to them, if we will support for them, or if we will pose them to do such a problem based approaches, then automatically they will find some solutions based on their observations, based on their data collections. So that is a very important part. Then automatically their understanding level may increase. And the last part is evaluation and feedback. So whatever the model we can utilize for our better teaching, the feedback and evaluation is very important. To provide feedback on students' reasoning, creativity, and practically to find the solution for the problem, then their responsibility in learning will increase, and they will find a feasibility of the proposed strategies and suggest improvements for the particular problems. So in this way, with these 5 steps, we have to implement the reflective model for better teaching. Even though we are having the methodologies, we need some special options to implement the teaching to our learning situations. For that, I will give 4 different strategies for implementing the reflective teaching. First one is problem based learning, PBL, nothing but. It is nothing but we have to create some complex situations, real world problems, and that will create a collaborative exploration and improve the critical thinking among the students. So problem based learning situations may create by the teachers to improve the learning situations among the learners. With a simple example, suppose if we ask a question, how can we design an eco-friendly classroom? So then automatically it is a kind of real life problem situations, because the eco-friendly classroom is a little bit difficult to maintain for the students or learners. So they can try to find the solution for that. Then automatically their level of critical thinking may increase. Then next important thing is to improve the questioning ability among the children. For example, What evidence support for your claiming of eco-friendly classrooms? So that way, if we ask the deeper level of posing the questions, then their level of understanding, their level of thinking may increase. Then the next important phase is database and discussions. So, organize the database to evaluate multiple perspectives on your topic. Suppose if we conduct a debate on the pros and cons of renewable energy source. If we take this example of renewable energy sources, if we have give a chance to the learners to the discussing of problems and as well as the solutions, then their critical level may increase. To find the solutions, they are searching in somewhere else, they are getting the information in various technological tools or by live tools, then automatically they will produce some answers. Then the next important thing is case study. I already told you in this particular reflective methods of teaching, the case study is the very, very positive part to deliver a good lecture and as well as a good learner. In the case study, to analyze the real world scenario and ask students to identify problems and evaluate solutions and justify their own choices. So that is the major plus in this reflective teaching, while we can use the strategy of utilizing the case studies. So these are some of the important highlights to be implemented of better reflective teaching. To continue to that, we need to considering the advantages of reflective level of teaching. I want to give a four important advantages of reflective level of teaching. First one is development of critical thinking. I already discussed so many points regarding critical thinking, such as to analyze, evaluate, and synthesis information to create a better decision makers. So the learners may promote to create a better decision makers. So this is the major advantage of critical thinking. And second foremost advantage is fosters independence. So that is very, very important. They encourages the students or learners to self-directed learning and confidence in handling complex problems. So the present scenario, the students can need a good strength in handling the complex situations to solve a particular problem. So that must be very, very important and essential for that, and that should be the major advantage of reflective level of teaching while we are using in the classroom teaching. And the next important thing is real world relevance. So the we have to connect the academic concepts to practical applications. That is a major advantage. We try to find the solution with the practical applications. So this is another important advantage of the reflective level of teaching. And last one is it encourages the collaboration with the group discussions and to try to solve the problems of various real life situations and to support for their deeper learning. So these are some of the advantages of reflective level of teaching. And at the same time, we are having certain limitations also there in reflective level of teaching, such as time consuming. So in every approaches of teaching, we look at the same problem, that is time consuming, because these kinds of models can be implemented with the utmost care and to produce a very good quality. So we need a certain time duration to implement these things. Second one is required skilled teachers. That also we discussed in the previous model itself. So these methods are very, very important, and it will give a more strengthen for learners. So if the teacher must be very well skilled enough, then only these kinds of models should be implemented in a proper way. And that should be a small limitations for this reflective model. Then not suitable for all learners. So when we are talking about critical thinking, it always post towards divergent way. So not all the students are having divergent way of thinking. So this is another limitations of implementing reflective teaching. And finally, the resource intensive. See, requires access of materials, case studies, and real world examples. So this is having a little difficult for the teachers and as well as learners to identify it and to implement it. So these are some of even though it is having some limitations, if we have properly implement this, then we have to improve the level of the learners. For that, I have to give an evidence with the comparison of reflective level with other teaching models. So it shows the highest level of learning as compared to the understanding level and memory level. Because in memory level, it insists only the memorizing portions, and in understanding level, it will give only the next level of memorizing. It is kind of middle level. But in the case of reflective level, it shows the highest level of teaching. So this is the major part I want to share with you in the title of reflective level of teaching. And the foremost thing of conclusion is the reflective level of teaching encourages learners to think critically, to solve the problems, and make informed decisions. By integrating this model into teaching practices, the educators can foster higher order cognitive skills and prepare the learners for complex real world challenges. So these are all the important highlights of the reflective level of teaching. And with this, I conclude this title. And in the next class, I will come with another title of lesson plan preparation with the help of model teaching.